So UPSC aspirants, if you read your newspapers every day and you come across different news pieces, different editorials, and you fail to understand that what kind of specific questions can be asked in the mains. So through this series, you will be more confident and more enlightened to understand that what kind of questions can be asked and how we can tackle those questions. So let us start a new series. Today there was a news that India wants to serve humanity for global good, and this is what our Prime Minister stated in the Guyana Parliament. Now I tried to form a question. The question says, how does Prime Minister Modi's address to the Parliament of Guyana reflect India's commitment to global cooperation, and what key themes did he emphasize regarding democracy, humanity and bilateral relations with South America? Now, if we try to break down this question into different parts and try understand that what kind of questions can be asked, number one, we have to focus on India-South America relations, right? Secondly, we have to talk about the idea of global cooperation, right? Along with the global cooperation, we have to emphasize on the key themes. Did he emphasize regarding what? Regarding democracy, humanity and bilateral relations with South America. Now, if I read this entire news piece, perhaps I will not be able to write a complete answer. But today I've got an idea that what kind of question can be asked and to what depth I have to read or I have to dig from other sources and formulate a proper answer. Similarly, there is another news piece in today's newspaper. It talks about align code of conduct in South China Sea with international law, and this statement comes from our Defence Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh at the ASEAN summit. Right now, the question that I could formulate is, how does India's position on the South China Sea Code of Conduct reflect its commitment to international law, and what implications does this have for regional security, ASEAN cooperation and countering China's assertiveness? So in this question, once again, you have to understand, we have to talk about India's position on South China Sea Code of Conduct. Now, what exactly is this code of conduct? Are we talking about freedom of sea? What kind of freedom of sea are we talking about? The maritime trade, obviously, the use of resources. What are the existing laws? What are the existing international obligations, right? According to which these rules or these sea conduct, code of conduct can be, it has been formulated. Then, what is India's position on this South China Sea Code of Conduct and how it reflects India's commitment to international law? See, if we talk about the idea of our fundamental our directive principles of state policy, when we talk about Article 51, in that Article 51 of the directive principle, it has been written that we will respect international law. So when you start interlinking the things, your answer becomes better, your answers become more holistic, and you obviously get better marks. And what implication does this have for regional security? Now, when we talk about the regional security, it is not just about ASEAN, it is about India's Act East policy as well. India's relations with Vietnam, India's relations with Japan, India's relations with South Korea, the Philippines, Taiwan and all those countries, as well as ASEAN cooperation and countering China's assertiveness. Right? Now, these kind of questions, what a UPSC aspirant is required to understand is that on one hand, we are de-escalating the situation with China. On the other hand, we are contemplating about China's assertiveness and countering it through various means, how to bring about a balance. Now, if you understand all these ramifications, only then you can write a substantially good answer, right? Another thing that you can see here is RBI committed to moderate inflation to mandated 4%, right, before we go for any rate cut. Now, while giving a speech, the governor of the Reserve Bank of India used a kind of phrase, and the phrase was fog driving. He used an analogy. So a question on this analogy or this phrase I could make a question like, how does the RBI governor's fog driving analogy reflects India's economic landscape, and what key challenges and strategies does it highlight for policymakers navigating uncertainties while maintaining stability and growth in the post-pandemic era? Now, first of all, fog driving. We are driving on a road and there is fog. We are not able to clearly see to a distance. There is a limited visibility, which means what we are now trying to understand is that the economies, not just Indian economy, but the global economies, they are in a very volatile situation. We are not able to have a very long time perspective, the future perspective. So we all are driving in fog. Because we are driving in fog, there must be a reason from where this fog is coming. The fog is coming, one, there had been a pandemic in the very recent past, COVID-19, right? For 2 years, there was complete problem. There was supply chain disruption. And to add on to it, now it's almost 1000 days that Russia-Ukraine war is going on, and every day it is becoming more volatile and it is having impact on our economies. Similarly, the issue in Middle East, the Arab-Israel conflict, which then escalated further with the entry of Yemen, the Houthis, and then with the entry of Iran. Now it can, if at all it further escalates, it can lead to the instability in the oil prices. So all these things are creating a haze, right, or that fog, because of which we are not able to see that what exactly will happen in the near future. Fine. So keeping all this in mind, we have to make our policies, our plans. Now, if you understand the topic in a proper way, if somebody is there to guide you, that you have to understand this topic in all these perspectives. It's not just about economy, it's more about international relations, it's about the unrest, it's about the resource crunch, supply chain disruptions, and all these things, then obviously you will be in a position to integrate the things, interrelate the things, and write a more effective and more impressive an answer. Now, if I continue having a look at another topic here, so India, Italy announced 5-year joint plan on defense space, right? Defense and space. So I made a question here. How does the 5-year joint strategic action plan between India and Italy enhance cooperation in defense, space and technology, addressing key initiatives and challenges while promoting economic collaboration and innovation from 2025 to 2029? Here we have to focus primarily and perhaps only on India-Italy relations, right? So this is a bilateral kind of a question, and it can also be a multilateral question where they can ask you India-EU relations, but here it is specific to India-Italy. From this news piece, you will get a lot of information, but not complete information. So I will, at the end of this series, I will explain another thing. Then poll panel not powerless despite claims. Here we are talking about the Election Commission of India, right? So a question that we could frame here is, how does the Election Commission of India's constitutional mandate, the way it has been given autonomy or it has been given the freedom of action in the constitution, align with recent challenges in electoral integrity, and what key reforms are necessary to strengthen its role in ensuring free and fair elections in India? Now, after reading this editorial, you may get a couple of ideas, but not the complete answer. But we have seen in the past that UPSC asks very holistic questions, very dynamic questions, right? So we need to understand the essence of the article or the news piece that we read on a given day in any newspaper. After reading it, we have to understand that what kind of a broad question can be made on such a topic, and accordingly we have to make our notes. So this is it for today. Now here, before I end the session, I once again invite the sincere UPSC aspirants to leave a comment. If you like this idea of me coming every day and interacting with you about all these important news pieces or articles from various sources, be it newspapers or magazines, and then discussing them in a very holistic manner, or in a very simple manner, in a very brief manner, or if you want me to give you the answers as well, or the structure of the answers, or if you want to write your answers and you want us to evaluate the answers for you, feel free. I am asking you again and again, tell me what better I can do for you, what best I can do for you. My endeavor here is to ensure that your preparation must be robust and you must not face any challenge. Thank you everyone.